Pipe Bomb Radio presents Friday Night Warfare. With your hosts, Austin James and Matt Nelson.
A state of war.
You want a war? You're going to get one.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the debut edition of Friday Night Warfare. I am your host, Austin James, obviously, and I think it's about time that I've got my own show on the Pipe Bomb Radio Network, being alongside Felix for an hour or two every single Tuesday night. It gets on my nerves. I'll still be there, it gets tough, so I have to be like, okay, man, I'm going to make my own show, Friday Night Warfare. And you know what? I got one of the best guys I know on the planet, Matt Nelson, alongside. How are you doing today?
Oh, I am doing terrific, Austin. It's great to be here, and I'm ready to have a good time.
Phenomenal. And Matt Nelson, tell everybody a little bit about yourself. You've been on Pipe Bomb Radio in the past, a few times here and there. But who are you? I don't think they know who you are. What's your name? Even though I said it once before. Tell you what your name is, and what you're about, and everything you've done in the past. You know what I'm talking about.
Yes,
bio.
I'll give you all a bio. My name is Matt Nelson, and I am one of the biggest wrestling fans, just like each and every one of you. I'm also a multiple-time gold medal winner in Special Olympics swimming.
That's phenomenal, and you're also trending on Twitter right now. Supposedly, that's what you told me before the show.
That is correct. I am trending world. That's right. I am trending worldwide right now, ladies and gentlemen, on Twitter.
Phenomenal. And one thing for sure about Friday Night Warfare, we will be setting the cannons to fire, and the opinions will fly every single Friday night, and that's exactly what we're going to do here right now tonight. And we're going to get started by talking about Battlegrounds, the WWE Battlegrounds pay-per-view that happened this past Sunday night. And it was a really interesting pay-per-view that happened.
Yes, Battleground was definitely phenomenal this past weekend. That's right, 5 days ago, and I got to tell you, it's been a big week. It's been a big week all over the wrestling world. This Battleground this past Sunday night, a phenomenal match card, awesome matches.
And we're definitely going to be talking about that right now and going over the key things that happened in Battleground. And, many things happened, like the 2 out of 3 Falls tag team title match between the Usos and Harper and Rowan of the Wyatt family. One of the best tag team matches I've seen in quite some time. Those guys have been putting on some amazing matches, the Usos, and same goes with the Wyatts. But, the Usos as tag team champions, have been one of the best tag team champions in a long time.
Yes, they have. The Usos are an amazing tag team. Their father, legendary WWE superstar Rikishi, Rikishi was also a member of Too Cool with legendary Scotty Tucani and Grandmaster Sexay along with them.
And the Usos have a great father and a great lineage. They're cousins, The Rock and Roman Reigns. But I'm not going to go to detail on how far their family lineage goes, because those Samoans have a family tree that just is over 70 billion feet tall. I would believe it. But, that match was excellent. They retained their tag titles after defeating Harper and Rowan after landing a really cool Superfly splash, double Superfly splash off the top rope, to retain their tag titles. The next match was for the Divas title. It was AJ, Divas champion, versus Paige. And you've seen them. They've had kind of a, I don't know to say rivalry, because they seem like they're the best of friends at times, but then you seen this past Monday on Raw, which we're going to be talking about in a second, that it wasn't like that anymore. But AJ Lee defeated Paige after pinning her out of nowhere.
Yeah, yes, definitely. AJ and Paige had an amazing rivalry. Let's go back towards a few months ago, right after the night of the 30th anniversary of WrestleMania, when as you see that AJ was in action and newcomer Paige made her Raw debut. She didn't know she was going for the Divas Championship until she got to the ring. But I got to tell you, that was an amazing, phenomenal match. Paige won her very first championship at the age of 21 years old.
I believe she's actually the youngest Divas champion of all time, which is definitely a remarkable thing to have on your career. But the next match was, and this is this rivalry has been on fire since it started a couple weeks ago, between Rusev and Jack Swagger, a real American versus the Russian Revolution. And Rusev, I've been a huge fan of, and you probably know this more than anybody. I talk about him all the time because he has come from what's his name, so Rikishi school, and then just made his mark more so than anybody I've ever seen in quite some time. And really just got to the main roster and proved his dominance when he got there. So and he actually defeated Jack Swagger via countout, which isn't the greatest way to win. I don't think Jack Swagger would have been too happy about it. But regardless, it was a stomping ground kind of, kind of proved what Rusev had and what Jack Swagger had, and I see them going forward in the future. But the next match after that was Chris Jericho versus Bray Wyatt, and people say it was an upset, that Chris Jericho defeated Bray Wyatt, but I'm not sure. I think they're kind of equal in standard, because they each have their own little things that work for them. Bray Wyatt's an insane human being who has I don't even know if he's a human being. He's more like a monster, like he says. And Chris Jericho wants to prove that no matter what he says, he could defeat him and take him down, which he did.
Yeah. Oh, yes, definitely. Chris Jericho made his return to the WWE a month ago. And then the Wyatt, they did, right after the promo between him and The Miz, the Wyatt came directly towards Chris. And then as we saw this past Monday on Raw during the WWE app segment, Chris Jericho was in a promo with Tom Phillips, and then Bray Wyatt comes in. Chris started attacking Bray, and then Bray put on the Sister Abigail on him to the locker room and busted Chris's ear up.
I know, I've seen that.
Chris might be injured.
I know, and there's a lot of unfinished business that they're going to have to go forward with. But speaking of The Miz, he's actually our new Intercontinental Champion as of this past Sunday, winning the huge Battle Royal, throwing out Dolph Ziggler to become the new Intercontinental Champion. And I see him as a person that I did not expect to regain stardom that quickly. But The Miz, he's going to find a way, and he definitely did. And having that new persona that he's putting on, being that movie star person he is. He actually, there's a kid that actually went up to him and tried to get an autograph, and you know what he did? He took it, he signed it, and threw it in the garbage. Who does that, to a little kid? That's you wouldn't like a guy like that, right?
No, exactly not. You see, The Miz, I've got to tell you that The Miz, this past Sunday at Battleground was extremely epic battle royal for the championship. Dolph Ziggler was this close to winning the Intercontinental Championship until The Miz came up from behind to eliminate him to win the championship.
Mm. And after that, they had the huge main event title match. It was the WWE title match between John Cena, Randy Orton, Roman Reigns, and Kane. And to be honest with you, Matt, I was really hoping for a Reigns win. Roman Reigns has a lot of momentum going to, and I thought it was gonna be his time. But actually, and John Cena, he never fails to to pull out that win out of nowhere, because I mean he's done it multiple times and became I believe a 15-time world and heavyweight champion. So I mean he's getting up there, and he retained his title after defeating all three of those guys. And what was it was a really good match, to be honest with you.
Oh yes, definitely. I would say that was an epic 4-way for the championship. You see, I've seen a lot of fatal 4-way in my time watching wrestling, and you see, the champion does not always have to be pinned. It's just depending on who the opponent is going to pin or submit, because that's the way how the match goes. It goes either way. You can, if the champion pins one guy or the other guy wants to pin the champion to become the champion.
You never know. Because you don't have to be pinned in a fatal 4-way match to become the champion.
I agree.
Or, you don't have to be the champion in order for you to be defeated. For you to lose the title. I mean, if John Cena basically, if Roman Reigns would have pinned him, he would become World Heavyweight Champion. It wouldn't have mattered, But John Cena retained his title, and going off to Raw, a huge Raw. I mean, one of the most historical Raws in a long time, and we've never seen a McMahon get arrested in I keep on thinking in quite some time. It's been quite some time since I've seen a McMahon get escorted out of the building. But Stephanie definitely did. But besides that, starting off the show, Triple H came out and talked about John Cena, winning the WWE title at Battlegrounds, and how he wants somebody to be able to stop him, And Randy Orton eventually came out, and same with Roman Reigns, claiming that they both can.
Oh yeah. Roman Reigns is definitely a big power striker. I mean, he wants to go after the Viper, because you saw what happened this past Sunday at Battleground. They want to tear each other apart. I mean, if they want to match this at the next pay-per-view, I would say go for it. I would say go for it.
And I see obviously towards the end of the night, we found out that that the SummerSlam opponent for John Cena for his WWE World Heavyweight Championship will actually be Brock Lesnar. So I mean, besides that match, I see Roman Reigns versus Randy Orton definitely happening. I mean, it's basically written in the stars, like Goldust and Stardust, say. But and I mean, it was funny that Triple H actually put Roman Reigns in a handicap match after, I guess you can see that Triple H is not a huge fan of Roman Reigns, so he put Kane and Randy Orton against Roman Reigns, but it actually came out on Roman's favor after he defeated both of them.
Well, yeah, I can tell that Triple H is not a big fan of Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns doesn't have to be Roman Reigns doesn't have to be a fan of Triple H. I mean, Roman Reigns is Roman Reigns because he's the super guy. I mean, the man has a big Superman power punch, and he can go after any other guy with that move.
That's his signature. It's proven from every single match that he's had that takes out any single person that gets in front of it. And also with his spear, he's taken out a lot of people and proven that he is the man who needs that WWE title more than anybody right now. But besides that, Bray Wyatt took over Chris Jericho's highlight reel, because you remember Chris was actually supposed to come out and do the highlight reel show, but Bray Wyatt on the WWE app earlier in the show actually hit Sister Abigail to the locker room, whatever locker, and busted open Jericho's ear or something. And he took over the highlight reel and basically said what he wanted Chris Jericho to hear, that he was forever and Jericho wasn't, that he was a guy that should live in the past, because Bray Wyatt said he lived 100 years in a day. That says something for somebody like him. I mean, that's Bray Wyatt's a monster.
That's kind of weird in some way, as you see that Bray Wyatt is from Louisiana, from our kind of state of Louisiana, and
but we don't know where. We have no clue where he's from. He might be from the swamp.
Well, it could be around Around, I would say it's around the Lafayette area, there's swamps around that area. I believe that's where he's probably from. Because,
the really deep parts of the swamp, I mean, where the alligators live, I mean, you never know with Bray Wyatt. I mean, he's a very unique person. He's interesting, and I love watching him. I mean, Bray Wyatt is one of the most unique characters we've seen in forever. I mean, it hasn't been we've never seen a person like Bray Wyatt, and it's when I get caught up in my words, that says something, that says that Bray Wyatt's a person that definitely takes your words away.
Yeah, I love Bray Wyatt, no doubt. He's a phenomenal athlete. I've been watching this man ever since Florida Championship Wrestling, a part of the WWE developmental system.
He's grown. I knew him. Me and you both know how far he was going to go. Once we seen him first arrive in FCW as, Bray Wyatt, of course, he was a couple other things beforehand, but, when he made his FCW debut as Bray Wyatt, we both knew how far he was going to go, and he definitely has. I mean, he's going against John Cena at WrestleMania 30. I mean, he's Chris Jericho, and the future is only, really bright for him.
Yeah, well, I've got to tell you, we both have seen Husky Harris as we watched NXT just 4 years ago. I mean, the man was so phenomenal. He was like the Army tank the size of a Ferrari engine.
I know, but that wasn't working for him. That wasn't working for him, because if it was working for him, he would have kept that. Instead, he has to go a little bit more cynical and became the man we know today as Bray Wyatt. But, going forward with Raw, Dolph Ziggler, in which was a pretty awesome match, all the way through, defeated Intercontinental Champion The Miz the night after he won it, and that says something. That means that Dolph's definitely in for some title contention. I mean, I say he should deserve that number one contendership.
Oh yes, Austin. So many guys want that Intercontinental Championship. I mean, let's think back to WrestleMania 29 when The Miz was the champion going into that match. It was the pre-show taking on Wade Barrett. Wade Barrett won that championship from The Miz, and so The Miz had to recuperate, rebuild to get a championship back. I mean, I would say that's like been almost a whole year to get that thing back. Because he was hungry. He was ready to get the Intercontinental Championship back. I mean, the man just got done making a movie, Marine 4, along with Summer Rae. I mean, Marine 4 is going to be a great movie.
I mean, he's the most must-see Intercontinental Champion at this time. And, going forward, with Raw, we saw AJ and Paige defeating Natalya and Emma. But, I mean, after that match, we saw the respect between AJ and Paige only for a second, because right when AJ turned her back, Paige pulled her hair down onto the canvas. I mean, AJ was flat on her back, and Paige was basically explaining how this was her house. That's the ring is where she is supposed to be, dominant at, and she definitely proved that with AJ. I can tell you, Paige and I know we're going to get technical here, but Paige as a heel, she's a force to be reckoned with. I can tell you that much. You've seen her on NXT, and in the past, she is a person to not be messed with when she has the reins, and she definitely does with AJ. And we're gonna see them clash a couple more times before the end of this.
Oh yes, definitely. We'll definitely see more of that. I was gonna tell you that Paige is no ordinary diva, ladies and gentlemen. She's a fighter. She's young.
She's hell in boots, like William Regal says.
Yeah, hell in boots, just like William Regal says. I mean, that's an amazing performer. She's hungry for Divas Gold, and who knows?
And yes, you can also call her the Enchanted Raven-Hair Lady. Like William Regal, that's what she is. She has many names. But, one thing on Raw that really surprised me was we actually saw Zack Ryder pick up his first win in a long time. Yes, we did. Against Fandango. That was something that I didn't expect, but not only did he win that match, he also won the hearts of Layla and Summer Rae.
Oh, yeah, Summer Rae and Layla. Yeah, they are a phenomenal two divas that are really hungry for Divas tag action. They were at ringside this past Monday, and you saw Layla go after the foot of Fandango to make sure that the referee did not see that foot before he laid down 1, 2, 3, and then Zack Ryder did his Rough Rider for the win.
Really
great win for Zack.
Real big moment for him. But next on Raw, Ryback and Curtis Axel defeated Big E and Kofi Kingston, a new tag team that they're really combining really well. I mean, I'm really interested in seeing what they have, planned next for Big E and Kofi, because right after that match, they had some advice from above all people, Xavier Woods, who just earned his doctor whatever degree from college now. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I will call him Dr. Woods.
Yeah, Dr. Woods, and exactly, and he's actually going to be. Looks like he's helping out Big E and Kofi now on their side. But besides that, later in the night, we saw Cesaro and Dean Ambrose go out to a DQ. Seth Rollins, again, gets involved in the match.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I want to tell you about Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins. Now, I watched both of these guys a long time. I mean, they want each other so that, they were brothers, along with Roman Reigns, when the Shield arrived in WWE back just 2 years ago.
Let me correct myself. I'm getting mixed up now. It actually wasn't. I'm thinking about SmackDown time for some reason. No. Cesaro actually defeated Dean Ambrose via DQ because Dean Ambrose actually hit a chair shot to Cesaro, which caused the disqualification. Yeah. Well,
like I was mentioning, I was watching SmackDown earlier tonight, and I got to tell you, great match with Cesaro and we're going to talk about it later. Yes, we're going to talk about SmackDown a little bit later in the show. But, I got ahead of myself. No, it's cool. I do that all the time. But main event, the main event feature of the night was Triple H. Coming out to talk about after everything that happened. I can't talk about this for a second. Early in the night with Stephanie McMahon. Is it Brie Bella who was in the crowd, or was they getting them mixed up? Is Brie or Nikki who was in the crowd? I believe it was Brie who was. Yeah, Brie was in the audience Monday night. Yeah, she was in the audience. She had a ticket, so she had all the rights to be there. Saw her, pointed her out, and then slapped her across the face. And well, I got to tell you, Brie. Well, you see, it all started with Daniel Bryan because Stephanie wanted Daniel to give up his WWE World Championship that he won back at WrestleMania. I mean, he wanted that championship with all costs because that was his dream, and he proved it. Definitely. And Stephanie, a little bit later, was actually confronted by the Florida police or the Tampa police or whatever it was, and confronted them basically saying that touching a fan and in the audience was battery, and she was arrested for that. And that was a huge moment. Oh yeah, I got to tell you, I have watched WWE since 1999, and when you look back at that, you would see like WWE Hall of Famer Stone Cold Steve Austin arrested for what he did to Mr. McMahon. I mean, Mr. McMahon has been arrested on an occasion. So has the Undertaker. I know, but we haven't seen this from. I know, but we haven't seen this in a long time. I mean, this is definitely a moment that it's going to go down in history. You know what I'm talking about? I mean, that is history, guys. Because this past week was something that we will remember for, I don't know, a long time. And definitely. And that was. Go ahead. Going forward, the main event feature of the night where Triple H was heading out to announce who John Cena's opponent is going to be at SummerSlam, and he wanted a person that could take John Cena out and become WWE champion
anybody should be, if anybody's going to be that guy or being put in that position, it's going to be Brock Lesnar, because nobody in history has defeated the Streak, and I guess that's a testimony to seeing how badass or how far somebody's going to go to win a title. And I'm definitely going to say this: as much as I respect John Cena, Brock Lesnar has this one in his pocket for SummerSlam.
Oh yes, I'm really looking forward to this match between Brock Lesnar and John Cena. Brock Lesnar, one of the youngest world champions up at WWE, along with UFC, former UFC world champions. And when you look at Brock's history, it's definitely phenomenal, because he is a man to be reckoned with. He is a powerhouse, and he's ready
one of the most
to get
dominant
that
athletes of all time. And he's definitely proved that in the past, and he continues to prove it. And he's not even that old, He still has a lot of ways to go with in WWE and in any other endeavor that he has. Because every single endeavor that he's went out to, he's definitely succeeded on. But going to main event Tuesday night, WWE Network, it was actually a really packed show. First match of the night, we saw Seth Rollins take on Fandango, and within just minutes, we saw Rollins really decimate Fandango, hit him with that curve stomp, which takes out everybody.
Oh, gotta love that curve stomp, because that curve stomp can knock you out in less than a second.
Mm. And Seth Rollins really proved that I keep on bringing up that word "proved," but there's a lot of people that have been proving themselves, because you either, like Triple H continues to say, he hasn't been saying it lately, but you either adapt or perish. Seth Rollins has adapted, and it's going very well for him. Maybe not with Dean Ambrose, which is yet to come. There's a lot of stuff between them that could be talked about for hours, but after that, Jey Uso with Jimmy Uso took on Ryback with Curtis Axel. So it was Jey Uso versus Ryback, and Ryback actually defeated Jey with hitting that shell shock.
Shell shock. That shell shock is very powerful. Love that move. He has planted a lot of guys with that move to win his matches. When you look back at WrestleMania 29, when he took on the one, the only, the world's strongest man, Mark Henry.
And I got it wrong again. It wasn't the shell shock; it was the meat hooks. This clothesline. That's you would think JBL has one hell of a clothesline. Ryback does as well.
Ooh,
but after that, Heath Slater and Titus O'Neil took on Big E and Kofi Kingston. To end the that wasn't the last match of the night. It was actually the second last. Yeah. And you would get Slater Gator, exactly. You'd think there would be a dominant tag team with Heath Slater and Titus O'Neil, but that was anything but the truth, because they were not getting along at all. And we saw Big E and Kofi Kingston win the match by pinfall after, with Dr. Woods was there ringside. And they, when I say destroyed Heath and Titus, Kofi and Big E destroyed Heath and Titus. Within an inch of their life, most likely. They hit this really cool double team move that I look forward to seeing this tag team really get into more action, and hopefully go for the tag titles, within this year. But for the main event, Jack Swagger with Zeb Coulter was win against Rusev with Lana, and we saw actually. You guys, I thought it went out for a second. Yeah, we saw Jack Swagger actually defeat Rusev via disqualification, and ever since these two have hooked up, in the matches they've had, nobody has won cleanly.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, that main event between Jack Swagger and Rusev, that was a great match. That was their rematch from Battleground, and this past Sunday at Battleground, when Rusev pushed Jack Swagger into the far post towards the steps, Jack Swagger was out within, I don't know, I think 20 minutes at least, because he was out.
Well, Lana is the person, remember, that Lana basically controls Rusev. She has some type of supernatural control over him. I don't even know. I mean, he's very disciplined with Lana. But NXT this weekend, and NXT has always proved to be such a great show. I mean, the future is held within NXT, actually the developmental territory for WWE. And the Ascension, who was the longest reigning tag team champions in NXT history, defeated 2 local competitors within minutes. I mean, those guys destroyed them and then some, like you would always know the Ascension to do. And I don't know who's going to beat them. I have no possible answer to that question because nobody has been able to at all. I mean, there's I don't know when that time's going to come where some other guys get the better hand, but it's not going to happen anytime soon because the Ascension has been dominant. It's going to continue to be dominant. But besides that fact, Tyler Breeze defeated the undefeated Mojo Rawley. Well, now he's defeated, but I said this last night. I'm like, when Tyler defeated Mojo within maybe 6 or 7 seconds with the beauty shot, that right there cemented basically that Tyler Breeze means business all the way in being the number 1 contender for the NXT Championship. That's definitely a way to go into its momentum.
Oh, definitely. Tyler Breeze is the future of NXT, and I see a lot of talent in this kid. He's an amazing athlete, even though he has his iPhone with him at all times, just looking at himself, thinking his ass.
And you would think that would be a downfall for him, but he doesn't let that distract him too much.
Exactly.
And, Tyler Breeze is actually trained by Lance Storm. So is Emma. And, speaking of Emma, she actually had her time in NXT as well. Basically also
a lot of talent
who was, the Divas champion, the NXT champion Paige. But the person who actually defeated Paige for the NXT title, but wouldn't really say defeated. It was more like all the tournament stuff that happened, which was crowned. Charlotte won the NXT championship a few months back, and tonight she actually went head-to-head against her former BFF sister,
Summer Rae,
and defeated her with the bow down to the queen, that finishing move, to retain her NXT Women's Championship. I can tell you, Charlotte has been, I have never seen a person that I've really enjoyed so much within a Divas wrestler in a long time. She knows exactly what she's doing, and that match that she had against Natalya, a few months ago at TakeOver was one of the greatest, I'm without a doubt, one of the greatest Divas matches I've ever seen in my entire life. And I continue to say that. I continue to promote that on any time anybody's asking me, like, oh, what's your favorite Divas match of all time? I'm like, well, definitely my top 5. It's gonna have to be Charlotte and Natalya from TakeOver. But Charlotte versus Summer Rae from last night's NXT was not equally, but it was a good match. It was a good match for its for last night.
I agree with you, Austin. That was a phenomenal match. I also watched that last night. I was definitely looking forward to see Summer Rae versus Charlotte. Charlotte, the daughter of 2-time WWE Hall of Famer, the Nature Boy, Ric Flair. She is a former gymnast. She is an amazing, she's athletic in the ring, and she is right to be called the NXT Women's Champion. I see a lot of future in Charlotte. We were talking about actually
earlier. We were talking about earlier how who's going to come up and defeat the Ascension in the future. All the tag teams that went up against them have fallen every single time. But there's a new team two new teams in the vicinity that shown over the past weeks at least. The Vaudevillains.
The Vaudevillains.
They've been
English.
A really cool tag team, an old school style tag team. And this week on NXT, last week Kalisto came out and said that he was actually going to have a new tag team partner alongside him. Eldo Calzi, I guess, is out of the picture. He's not going to be with him anymore. But his new tag team partner alongside Kalisto was Sin Cara. And they defeated the Vaudevillains by using this really innovative move. I don't even know what to call it. It was almost like a backward reverse DDT that Kalisto did. And Kalisto never fails to entertain. He does some of the craziest things I've ever seen in my life, and actually, followed him when he was Samurai del Sol, on the independent scene beforehand. And the stuff he's been doing in NXT is cool, but we've not seen even an inkling of anything, all that he can do. I mean, he has a lot in his pockets, you know, when you're talking about moves. His moves
well, I see the truth. I love Kalisto. He's an amazing athlete, just like Sin Cara is. They're so phenomenal in the ring. They're quick. They're lucha libre.
Definitely.
You gotta love the athleticism in both of them.
In the main event, Adrian Neville took on Rusev, and you know, I was actually thinking that he had a chance against Rusev because I mean those two have you know, Rusev with a Muay Thai background, and Adrian Neville has a high flying background. You know, I don't know. Going into that match, I didn't know who was gonna, you know, get the upper hand, but nobody did because you know Rusev kind of, I believe he actually defeated Adrian Neville last night from
he did
distraction by who was that?
Tyler Breeze.
Tyler Breeze, yeah. I was thinking, I'm like, is Tyson good? No, yeah. Tyler Breeze distracted him, which basically led for Alexander to get the win.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, Tyler Breeze is an amazing athlete and performer, but he's got to be careful. Yeah, he's got to watch Rusev, because Rusev can strike you at any minute. You got to watch the submission hold. I mean, you got to escape that move before he even puts it on you.
Definitely. And with NXT, you know, the future is now at NXT, and it continues to get better and better every single week. But going forth, Superstars, and I can tell you this, people always say, Austin, why are you watching Superstars? That show, that they have all the bad talent. No. People have it so wrong. You guys need to watch the show in order to make judgments, because they have some of the best matches on the show that people, I always call in the past, it's the secret treasure of WWE, because you never know what you're going to get. And like this week, Adam Rose defeated Heath Slater, and Hornswoggle was actually on Heath Slater's side for a second until the Rosebuds came out, and Hornswoggle got in a mix of Rosebuds, and he came out as a Rosebud, a part of Adam Rose's, I guess, team right now. So you got a midget, a bunny, a chicken, and all these weird characters with the Rosebuds, and Hornswoggle is now a part of the Rosebuds.
That is just hilarious. I love the Rosebud. Hey, don't be a lemon, be a Rosebud.
Exactly. And only if Felix understand that, but Felix is a lemon. Don't you agree? No, I'm just kidding. Even though he probably
I know you're kidding. Yeah, well, it all just depends. If you want to be a lemon, you can be a lemon. But if you want to be a lemon, just be a Rosebud.
I know, exactly. I mean, that comes down to it. I mean, Felix might be a lemon, and he's also he's not a Bo believer. Are you a Bo believer? Do you believe in Bo Dallas? I mean, you know, if anybody doesn't, he's proven in the past that running Bo Dallas is taking out every single person that he's gone up against.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely a believer, because you see, everybody believes in themselves. I mean, hey, think about that. I'm a multiple-time gold medal winner because I believed in myself, that I proved that I was the absolute best.
Matt, you didn't believe in yourself. You did not believe in yourself. You believed in yourself. There's a difference. Believing and believing is two different things. But going to TNA Explosion, and I know Matt Nelson is going to be excited about this. You're talking about this from the Manhattan Center in New York City. Gail Kim defeated Matt Nelson's favorite women's wrestler in the world today, Velvet Sky, after rolling her up into a pin, getting the 3 counts for the win. But if you remember this, Matt, Velvet Sky was trying to cheat her way out into getting that win.
Well, actually, I would just call it just helping a friend out there, but it doesn't really.
She wasn't helping her friend out.
Yeah, well, I mean, there are opinions. Everybody has their opinions, right? But
the truth will always remain the same. And Velvet Sky was actually trying to cheat to get the win today. You know, this week on Explosion. And, you know, Explosion is another thing. People always ask, like, where can I watch Explosion? It's not on the internet. Well, obviously, if you would check it and Google it and use, you know, Google to its abilities, you'll probably find that, you know, it takes a little bit of work to get things done. Daily Motion has Explosion. You know, you can check it out there. I mean, that's a weekly show about an hour long, and it includes one special match that, you know, they I guess they record before the Impact Wrestling tapings. But speaking of Impact Wrestling, we're going to start talking about that right now. And, since TNA, they started the six-sided ring returning last week on Impact, which is such a great change. I mean, they should have kept it to begin with, all through its time, because that's what made TNA stick out,
Yeah, I love the six-sided ring. I love the six-sided ring. The last time I saw the six-sided ring was 2007, 2008, when I made my first TNA appearance at the Century Link Center, which we have here in Freeport, Bossier. I've been there a lot. I have so many amazing moments there with my former hockey team, the Bossier Freeport Mudbugs, multiple time President's Cup champions, and concerts as well, and definitely wrestling. Wrestling is the best thing to go see. Like, I've been to TNA events, WWE.
And put on some really cool house shows. But the start of the show, we saw the rivalry between Bobby Roode and MVP, who supposedly has a torn meniscus. I mean, he walks on it pretty fine for a person with a torn meniscus, I can tell you that much. But they had a Fall Count Anywhere match, and Bobby Roode did not wait for MVP to get to the ring. Bobby went to the ring and went back and chased MVP and took it to the outskirts of the arena and everywhere. I mean, they were around town, And Bobby Roode defeated him via submission. And the rivalry still continues with those two, and it's going to get interesting to see what happens next. But Jeff Hardy came out to the ring and basically said that Kurt Angle wanted Jeff back instead of Willow. Willow the Wisp, Jeff's alter ego, has been in TNA for a couple months, but people want to see Jeff back, and when they want to see Jeff back, they also want to see his brother Matt back, which in turn leads Matt Hardy coming out and announcing that they are wanting to go for the tag team titles again. The only way to win those tag team titles is to defeat the best tag team, or one of the best tag teams in the world, who are the TNA World Tag Team Champions right now, are the Wolves, Davey Richards and Eddie Edwards.
Gotta love Eddie Edwards and Davey Richards. I have watched them in the early days of Ring of Honor. They are in an amazing tag team.
Phenomenal
They're
tag
so
team.
quick. They're so athletic. That's
next week at Destination X, they're actually be going, and the Hardy Boys are going to reunite and going to be taking on the Wolves for the tag team titles. And I can tell you this, that's going to be a dream match that every single person in the world that's a wrestling fan should want to see. And next, after that, you saw Low Ki, one of my favorite wrestlers in the world today, make his return to TNA and defeated DJ Z, Zima Ion, within a 52 minutes of EFN, and DJ Z. And Low Ki is a person that I really hope he's a part of TNA for going forward in the future, because their X Division needs to be revamped and really needs to have a lot more focus on it for because that's what basically made TNA what it is today. The X Division is what started off with making more people want to actually tune in and watch us.
Well, yeah, to tell you the truth, I love the X Division. The X Division is Impact Wrestling. I mean, that's what I want to do when I go into Impact Wrestling in the near future, is to be a part of the X Division, because that's where I want to. That's where I want to start at.
And the next match of the night was actually Gunner and Mr. Anderson versus Magnus and Bram. And Magnus and Bram has really been, an entertaining tag team. Their styles kind of go off of each other, and they've been having some pretty cool matches. And Magnus and Bram, defeated Gunner and Mr. Anderson via pin after, I believe, I'm trying to remember, I think it was Magnus hit the spine shaker on Mr. Anderson. So he had the win. I think it's a finishing move named the Spine Shaker. Which I never heard of. I think it was more like, it kind of reminded me of the Rock Bottom or Booker T's booking. But after that, we saw Austin Aries made his way to the ring to go into the ring with Kurt Angle, basically make his decision on if he wants to cash in Option C. Basically, if you guys don't know, Option C is if you're the X Division champion at the time for Destination X, you can cash in your X Division title for a World Heavyweight Championship title. Now, Bobby Lashley came out and basically taunted Austin, saying, basically, man, you don't really have what it takes to defeat a person like me. The MVP was kind of doing talking for him, and Austin's like, man, I've done this a few times beforehand. I kind of know what I'm talking about. And cashed in his opportunity. He's going to be facing Bobby Lashley next week on Destination X, free on Impact Wrestling on Spike TV, for the World Heavyweight Championship. And I don't know, I've seen, let's just say this, if Austin Aries can take out, Bobby Roode and people like Bully Ray, he can definitely take out Bobby Lashley. Even though Bobby Lashley is a different type of a breed, same as Austin Aries, he's a person that can make some magic happen when it comes to big opportunities. But for the Knockouts title, we saw Gail Kim versus Taryn Terrell, and it ended in no contest, which is kind of disappointing because those two have had some really cool matches in the past, and this was kind of the rubber match to decide who was gonna win, who was gonna come on top as the person who is the dominant female in the TNA locker room.
Yeah, there are so many beautiful knockouts, and there's so many beautiful knockouts in the knockouts division. Taryn Terrell just came back just a couple of weeks ago from after going through an injury that she suffered.
Well, I don't think it was an injury. I believe she was actually pregnant.
Oh yeah, that's right. She was pregnant. Yeah, she was pregnant, and then she made her come back, and she wanted to get into it. So that's how it all started with her and Gail Kim.
And after that, we actually saw. I'm sorry I keep on cutting you off, but we kind of gotta move forward with this type of stuff for Impact, because we actually saw with the Great Muta make his New York debut against Robbie E. In a winning way. He defeated Robbie E. after getting that sweet shining wizard. But what happened after was unbelievable, because we saw Sonata, what seemed like he was going to go in and help Muta, actually turned on his teacher, the Great Muta, turned on him and really just beat him down with James Storm looking, into the ring. And I kind of see, I don't know, I think Sonata is going on James Storm's side, in all this. I think he sees that what James Storm's been saying has kind of been ringing a bell in his head. And Sonata and the Great Muta definitely have some business to settle in the future.
Well, yeah. Well, you see, I was watching last week, and I noticed that James Storm and Sonata were going at it in the back, and James is saying, "What you gonna do, Sonata? What are you gonna do, Sonata? Are you gonna just lose to your failures? What are you gonna do?" Well, so that's why Sonata turned on the Great Muta, because somehow or another, it was an impact. I mean, there's always an impact.
You
make
an
impact.
That's what Impact Wrestling, and hence the name Impact Wrestling. You have to make an impact in order to make yourself known. And speaking of impact, they had a huge New York City street fight in the main event between Tommy Dreamer, Bully Ray, and Devon, Team 3 reuniting with Tommy Dreamer versus Rhino, Spud, and Ethan Carter the third, right?
Exactly.
And basically it was a huge brawl that ended in two former WWE guys, Snitsky and Ezekiel Jackson, who came in with these hoods on, and they came in and rushed in and basically helped Rhino, Spud, and Ethan Carter to get the win. And that was a crazy match, and I didn't expect those two guys, Snitsky and Ezekiel, to come in and help Dixie, but Dixie has King Mo on her side now, Rhino, Ethan Carter. That's muscle, and muscle is definitely going to take over, all the time, especially when you have guys that want to take out Dixie Carter and put it through a table. I mean, who wants to be put through a table, especially Dixie Carter? I mean, she's a Carter and the world needs them. You don't want to put a Carter into into a table. It's bad for business,
Well, you see, there's a lot of muscle right now that Dixie Carter has. Now she just got two new guys, former WWE superstars. Gene Snitsky, we haven't seen him in a while. Ezekiel Jackson just got released from the WWE. Also, EC3, Rock vs. Buzz. I mean, there's a lot to handle right now, and that's really going to change. Because
they celebrated in the ring after they defeated all those guys, and Snitsky and Ezekiel helped to really decimate everybody in the ring. You know, Devon and Bubba Ray and Tommy Dreamer. You know, they really decimated and proven that it's going to take a lot to put Dixie Carter through a table and then some. She definitely has a team on her side. But going forward to tonight's SmackDown, which was a really awesome episode of SmackDown. I enjoyed it. You know, the first match of the night was a 9-title match between the Usos and Ryback and Curtis Axel, you know. And the Usos got the win via pin after defeating I'm trying to remember what it was. I think it wasn't they did a twin magic thing. They were on the ground for a second, and then one of the twins, Jimmy or Jay, came in and acted like nothing happened. Like he was the more fresher one in the match, and basically got the win after pinning Curtis Axel out of nowhere. And the Miz, the superstar Miz, came out from Miz TV and said how great, you know, basically explained how great he was and how many people know him. And went up to his mom and dad, who were actually in the arena at the time, asked his mom questions like, "Oh, who is his favorite superstar?" And of all people, actually, answered Roman Reigns. And Miz brushed it off like that was nothing, I guess, you know. And after that, I believe Dolph Ziggler came out and Bo Dallas right afterward, or was it Bo Dallas and then Dolph Ziggler?
It was Bo Dallas then Dolph. Excuse me.
Yeah. Cool.
I gotta tell you that when I saw the Miz tonight, when he went by his parents and he said, when he spoke to Mom, he goes, "Hey Mom, who's your favorite WWE? Roman Reigns? Are you serious?" Why would
she
your
thinks
mother
Roman
go
Reigns is hot. I know.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Samoans, they definitely know what they're doing in the ring, but I mean, you should go when your own mom asks you, you know, when your own son asks the mom, you know, who's your favorite superstar, it should be your son, The Miz, but she didn't give that. I guess his mom didn't like The Miz as much as The Miz thinks. But that ensued into Bo Dallas taking on Dolph Ziggler and defeating him after hitting him with that roll up. I was about to say the Bo doll, but I realized that he didn't hit him with that mismatch. Yeah. Which was kind of the difference from all the other ones. He rolled him up into the pin to get the win. And after that, we saw, and this is really cool, I was excited about this, Cesaro take on Dean Ambrose in a rematch from Monday Night's Raw, and they did no disqualification match. And if anybody knows who Dean Ambrose is, you know that he's a guy who's no stranger to those hardcore type matches. And he's definitely proven he's definitely shown that he knew what he was doing, because he's the guy who got the win after pinning Cesaro within a small package to get the win. And after that, we saw Naomi versus Paige. Also, I forgot to mention that Seth Rollins actually momentarily distracted the Ambrose by attacking him for a second, which led Cesaro to get the upper hand, but then, Dean turned it around and eventually got the win. But Naomi wrestled Paige, and Paige within minutes, and we keep on slinging minutes, you know, within a couple matches that we talked about, you know, on tonight's show. But within a minute, not even a minute, I think it was like 45 seconds, Paige gets the win over Naomi after hitting her with that lethal scorpion crosslock. And Cameron came out and basically beat Naomi until Naomi turned around and just beat her the same way. And then Naomi pushed her and slammed her face in the ground on the outside, and it's getting really nasty between those two total divas, and I see it just escalating from here on. But after that, Bray Wyatt took on R-Truth, and Bray Wyatt got the pin after hitting Sister Abigail, and the same move that he hit Chris Jericho with on the WWE app this past Monday Night on Raw on the app, which everybody knows about. I mean, do you have the WWE app, Matt?
Yes, I do. On my iPhone.
Me as well.
5S and my iPad. I've been having internet problems that occurred this week that I'm no longer on my iPad right now, but I am on my iPhone. But
Well, the great thing about the JW app is that it's available on all smartphones, you know, and the computers, I mean, your iPads. It's available everywhere, and it's free. That's amazing, right? You know, going to the main event for the first time ever, Roman Reigns took on Alberto Del Rio, and Roman Reigns came out as the man on top after defeating Alberto Del Rio in an awesome match with that spear, the lethal spear. We all know that the men who used the spear was always the guys that came on top. I mean, Goldberg, Edge. Who else used the spear? I'm trying to think.
Goldberg,
Caitlyn used the spear. Yeah, Caitlyn. She used it. Roman Reigns is using it to his advantage, definitely. And he's been getting the win with that every single match he's been in for the most part. I mean, that spear is a lethal thing, and he puts it on like nobody else. So that's, you know, basically everything that's happened, you know, this weekend in the wrestling world. Right now we're going to become a Ring of Honor without a doubt. Ring of Honor, this week in Ring of Honor, we saw the matches from Best in the World, a few of them, for this week's Ring of Honor. If you didn't check out Best in the World, you can go to ringofhonorwrestling.com. And it's, I mean, really, such a good pay-per-view. I mean, the Ring of Honor definitely stepped their game up this year with being on actual pay-per-view and having just a, you know, really nice look to their product now. I mean, not that they haven't in the past, but I mean, they have a nice, you know, new ring curtain around their ring, and everything looks awesome. Just makes the wrestling look even more better than what it is. I mean, the Ring of Honor wrestlers are athletes. I mean, the purest athletes in this world.
Yeah, I was going to mention there's also a site that you can go to watch Ring of Honor. If you do not have Ring of Honor ringofhonorwrestling.com to watch.
Well, that's actually Ring of Honor Wrestling. So you actually check it out there, because people who don't have the ringside memberships get to check it out on Thursday nights, which are on ROHWrestling.com.
Exactly.
And which is for free. And you know, that's basically everything that happened this week in wrestling. And there's so much that's going to be happening this coming weekend. Monday Night Raw, Stephanie McMahon returns after being arrested, and supposedly she was released this past Tuesday night. Triple H bailed her out of jail. That's, you know, I want to see the footage of this. You know, to be honest with you, I want to see Seth McMahon getting bailed out of jail. That's pretty interesting, if I do say so myself.
Yeah, I was pretty shocked to see Stephanie being arrested. I mean, I noticed when I was watching Raw that, did you see the face of Jerry the King Lawler when this occurred? Because she was stunned just like JBL and Michael Cole, like I was. Because I was watching this ring, and I noticed the chief of police coming. There was a guy on the right side. He was this close to being also arrested as well.
I know. Everybody was freaked out about that situation that happened on Raw. But tonight, you know, this is a debut edition of Friday Night Warfare, and you know, I'm really glad, Matt, that you were able to, you know, be as a host with me, and you're going to continue to go on with us for the foreseeable future on Friday Night Warfare, where we set the cannons on fire and the opinions will fly. Make sure you have your helmets on, because let me tell you something, guys. It's going to get only better and better within, you know, the weeks to come. We're going to have, you know, different things, different little categories and stuff we're going to be bringing on the show, like maybe like reviewing some of the best pay-per-views of, you know, like SummerSlam, going to SummerSlam, reviewing our favorite SummerSlam matches and moments and stuff. I mean, there are a ton of them, you know, Matt?
They are. SummerSlam is one of the best pay-per-views to watch in the summer, because it all started in the 1980s, and this is definitely a must-see blockbuster event.
No doubt about it. You know, I want to thank you so much, Matt, for joining me tonight and, you know, being the host. And I just want to know, are we trending worldwide yet? Is Friday Night Warfare trending worldwide on Twitter?
I would say yes.
We are. Yeah, thank God. You know, we never trend worldwide on Pipe Bomb on Tuesday nights, maybe because it's Felix in the show. I don't know. People say that. I mean, and they also say it's me, but I'm like, no way, it can't be me. I'm too cool, right? I mean, at least you know that. But
yes,
thank you guys so much for joining us on tonight's first edition, debut edition of Friday Night Warfare. I'm not going to finish it off with "Keep Your Feet in the Ground." That's Felix's catchphrase. So keep your feet in the concrete and keep reaching for Jupiter. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night, Matt Nelson.
Good night, Austin.